All right, guys, welcome back to Big Ambitions. Where we left off last time, we had just gotten soda cans, or soda, I guess I should say, in a soda fridge. We are now selling soda. We are finally able to head to the drive-through wholesaler. As you can see on the screen here, New York Distro Incorporated is what it's called, and that's where it's directing me to go for this objective up here now. I did actually go there prior. After I bought the soda fridge, I felt like that was the best place to go because it was the one I was familiar with from the prior version. But now we're being told to go there. That should hopefully increase our profit once the cheap gifts that I bought there start being sold by the business. Basically speaking, so when we were buying from the wholesale market that was next to us, we were spending around $2,000 per box of cheap gifts. This place, and I'll show you, it's really nifty. It's just a little drive-through. You get up to this green marker here, you enter, and then you can see everything. It's labeled.
All right, back to your customers. You're always complaining customers, right?
Right.
Look, don't worry. Eventually, they'll be happy, and so will your bank account. But right now, we do have two problems. The customer service level of your employee, and their lack of a uniform.
So I've actually already solved the uniform problem because one of my customers had mentioned that they were disappointed that there was no uniform. So I've already taken care of that. Looks like we need to train our employee up to 50%. That's okay. Right now, I'm just going to show you guys this stuff, though. So this price does fluctuate. Don't get me wrong. When I came in the other day, the price was actually $1,100. Regardless of that, you could tell no matter what, this is still roughly $800 cheaper than the cheap gifts that we were buying at the other wholesaler. So this is nice. When I bought the soda boxes earlier, they were 46 a box, now they're 44. So price and demand fluctuate the overall, business expenses, and just like in real life. And this will definitely help in the long run. I mean, look at the expensive gifts. They're still cheaper than the cheap gifts at the other wholesaler. So this should start bringing in profit. You could see here, I did do another day while I was not recording just to see how things would go. We lost $81 in this case. Now, this is actually a pretty big deal because although we lost money again, I want you to see the difference here. So it looks like they're starting to, so this must have been the jump here. So 286. Notice here that we sold $549 worth of goods overall, $507 of cheap gifts, $542.50 of cheap gifts yesterday. The comparison is pretty stark though. We spent more on cheap gifts, like that's the overall, cost of those gifts versus we, for roughly the same amount sold, maybe a few more on this day, we still spent considerably less, $100 less. So that'll start really catching up. That'll start giving us a bit more profit. In fact, we made a profit this day. It's just unfortunately with everything else, we didn't make enough. But we'll get this taken care of. We're not going to, just because we want to keep the funds at the moment. But we could pay this off and still have roughly 14,000, a little under 13.8 it looks like. And that's just head math, which is probably not very good. But anyway, we could get rid of that, still have plenty of money left, and only pay the $132 per cycle, so to speak. And that'll give us a little bit more. We're currently spending $79 a day on this particular loan here. And that would almost break us even from yesterday. So it's something to consider. Right now, we're not going to do it. We're going to try to work on getting our profit increased with what we are dealing with now. I don't need to buy anything at the moment, but I did want to show you guys this. I think what I'm going to do next is, after today, I'm going to unassign Granger and get her trained up to 50%, and we'll see how everything goes from there. I'll see you after that time has passed. All right, guys, see you in a second. Welcome back from the time skip. Of course, for you, it was like 1 second, but for me, it wasn't. Regardless, hopefully we turned a profit today. Probably not, because I ran out of energy like an idiot. I didn't show you that part. Ran out of energy at 7:44, 1944. Whoops. It happens. It's a little bit harder when you constantly forget to eat. So that's my fault. We'll see how today goes. Hopefully everything pans out and we made a profit, but again, probably not. It'll probably be a little bit before that happens. In fact, before I forget, I better remember to train her. So I got to take her off of Deload's gifts and then train her skill. So she'll be at 53%. It'll take a day, so pretty much I have to work the entire day tomorrow. That'll be pretty rough. But we'll make it happen. We'll get it to work. What's nice is I can just change the schedule on the fly, and it's not like customers really honestly care. So what I think I'll do is give myself an hour in between the shifts. Still stay open until 8 o'clock, but what time did I actually set the business to now? So we are 7 to this is a 13-hour shift, 7 to 8. That's okay. What I'll do is at oh crap, I can't really do that, can I? Oh yeah, I can. So between 2 and 3 o'clock, we'll have a break so that I can go get something to eat. So in this case, I will show you this gameplay. Oops, why did I leave? I'm not even thinking. I'll show you this gameplay though, and I'll fast forward it so you can see most of the day, and I'll talk. And hopefully I'll say something interesting. Oh, we lost money. Okay. Well, that's a bummer. Oh, don't forget to eat. Don't forget to eat. Come on, Delo. Don't forget to eat. Gotta stop forgetting that. I don't know. I just don't think about it for some reason. It's kind of like an RPG or like a survival RPG in a way. Like you gotta eat to be able to keep up energy, to be able to keep working. Duh. Of course, I'm saying this as in real life, I haven't even eaten anything yet today, and it is 1:10 p.m., so I probably should do that at some point. But, you know, don't eat in game, don't eat in real life, don't matter. Alright. 6:52, we are stocked with cheap gifts. We are stocked with soda cans. We are clean. Yep, cleaned. So let's get behind that door. There we go. Let's get to working. Now I am going to hit fast forward time just because it'll be really slow otherwise. But we'll see customers coming in as they come and go. I think one interesting thing about sitting here is that I feel like I've noticed, and this is my prior playthroughs, I can't speak to it now, especially with the changes that they made, but I feel like you see more customers if you actually sit here and you don't skip time. Now, of course, I'm saying this now as not a single customer. Oh, there we go, finally. But, I mean, it took 30 minutes for someone to come in. That's a while. So we know we had one customer. We're hoping for I mean, I would love to see 30 again. 30 would be great. 30 customers would give us a profit for sure. At least I'm pretty sure. I better look at this. So let's go to Bizman. Yesterday we did 29. Okay. Well then. Hmm. 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 This might hurt a little bit more than I thought. Let's see. 4 days ago, that would have been 1, 2, 3, 4. So we had 39 customers on the 20th day. However, on the 20th day, we only made a profit of $8.48. The loans are really killing us currently. It's a lot of money going out. And obviously, you know, wages. But we'll keep going. We'll keep going. It's all we can do, really. But yeah, I feel like it's probably not the case anymore, and this is probably why people started complaining about how the customers would disappear if you were in the store. Like, it really interrupted your profit for those days whenever you'd visit your stores to do, you know, something. While your employees are working, you should be able to go into your store and make changes. You should be able to, you know, manually stock if you felt like it, for instance. You know, you should be able to do things without impacting your customer input and an output, really. But I feel like now that I'm looking at this, it's definitely different. And having only 3 customers so far has been kind of unfortunate. Not a very popular place. I think the next step is to eventually get just a speaker or something to get music playing, because I don't think people are enjoying the environment of this store. Again, I understand it is very bland. It looks very bland to me. It's just the cheap option. I could, for instance, do some interior designing. Oh, I can't do it while I'm working, apparently. That's weird. But I could change the environment a little bit. I still believe, you know, getting a speaker to have some music is the smart move as well. Because, I mean, even I'm just sitting here listening to the drone of the AC, and it's just kind of boring. You know, you walk in and you hear nothing. It's just like, ugh. But, I mean, at least people are coming in and buying. They're buying both items now as well, which is cool. I like that. But, see, he only grabbed that. So he didn't even buy a soda can. So he only bought just the cheap gift. That's okay. I want you to buy something. If you walk into my store, I want you to walk into my store and buy something. I need you to buy something. Another thing I'm noticing here as well is, interestingly enough, I don't feel like this is going down as quick as it would. But at least with the hour, I can hop next door. There's I think it's called 5 Cups instead of 5 Guys, but it's a coffee place. I can buy some coffee and a croissant and not drop the croissant. If you know that meme, of course. That should help me complete the rest of the day, and then by then, Granger will be fully, well, not fully trained, but she'll be trained up beyond 50%. That should also help with the customer impact. I'm hoping as her customer service goes up, so does our profit margin, because the better the customer service, the more likely the customer is going to return, or the more likely the customer is going to buy, which is really good, obviously. We need sales. We are bleeding money, but it's a slow trickle now that we have 27,000 from the bank. Thank you, bank. Shout out to I forgot what they're called. Shout out to Jensen Capital. Totally sponsored. We're not sponsored by anything. Really, at this point, I've only been talking to myself. I think only 17 of you have watched the last video, and you only watched it for 3 minutes. So if you get to this point of the video, I really appreciate your assistance in viewing my stuff. You know, starting out, I most certainly do not consider myself a YouTuber, because this is most definitely not my income whatsoever. I have a 40-hour-a-week job. I thankfully get to work from home, which is nice. It's a real job too. It's a legit job. It's just our office hours are non-existent for the most part because of COVID. They closed down our office a few years ago, and they just kept it that way. So I get to do this and work at the same time, and I focus on my work, and I'll do this when it time permits. But yeah, I mean, it's nice. But I definitely don't consider myself a YouTuber, at least yet. I would love to make this my primary job. I've been playing video games for my entire life, to be honest. I mean, my first exposure was on the NES, and it was, if I remember correctly, Final Fantasy. And I fell in love with it. My mom was able to get me an NES, and we played Super Mario 3 together. And then, the N64 came about, and man, it was lights out at that point. I definitely am I'm a child of the 90s in that regard. I spent so many hours playing the N64, and a lot of memories with that. We would have friends over, we'd all be playing, Mario Kart, Super Smash Brothers. I myself spent a lot of time in Shadows of the Empire, Star Wars Shadows of the Empire. Great game. Mario 64, etc. So, I mean, it's been, I've been a PC gamer since the, I want to say I got my first PC in 1997. I believe it was the same year that the Red Wings repeated. No, they repeated 97, 98. So yeah, it was 97, 98. So yeah, my first PC around then. It was a compact. And I remember getting Counter-Strike in 99. Or not getting Counter-Strike, getting Half-Life, and then playing Counter-Strike as as a mod at that point. But yeah, it's just been a love of mine ever since. And for the probably one of you that'll hear this, my wife, thank you very much. I love you, sweetie. Yeah, it's been a passion of mine, and I've just never, until now, decided to do anything with it other than treat it as my hobby. But I certainly would love to share my experiences, and hopefully more people end up watching my stuff. But I mean, it's important to me that I share it, and at this point, I hope it pans out. I would love for this to become something more, of course, but for now, I'm gonna stick with my normal, 8 to 5 every day except for the weekend, which is nice, by the way. Having the weekends off is definitely amazing. But yeah. Anyway, we are on break. It is 2:30. We got another half hour to go. I think what I'm going to end up doing now, we saw, and this is why I've been skipping, it's been terribly slow in this place. It's not the most amazing gameplay, and this is why I choose to skip for now, because there's nothing exciting going on. It's just waiting for people to come in, pick something up, and buy it from me. But I think what I'll do now is just skip time till the end of the day. By then, our employee, yep, she's trained. Perfect. And now I need to assign her back to the business. No, I need my employees. There we go. So Granger needs to be assigned back to Deload's Gifts. Perfect. That's done. Believe that, yep, that completes our objective.
There you go, kiddo. Continue listening to your customers and keep improving. Keep improving. And by the way, you don't build an entire empire with just a gift shop, right? I think you should consider opening a new business. That said, you don't want to go rushing into something willy-nilly. You gotta know what people want. There's an app for that. Market Insider app. See what people are looking for.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Uncle Fred. Yeah, so we have her reassigned. She's trained up to 50%, which is great. We gotta, let's restock everything here. What we need to do is change back the hours so that things are, you know, there's no break in between, for instance. And that'll help us, hopefully, with her being at 50% or over 50% at this point. That'll help us bring in a little bit more money. If not, it is what it is. We gotta learn to adjust and figure things out. You know, another thing that would be incredibly helpful is having expensive gifts. And knowing that the expensive gifts are cheaper at the drive-through wholesaler is definitely going to benefit us, because having both the expensive and the cheap gifts at the same time will drive more customers in, because they see it as a gift shop. Like the AI knows that this is a gift shop, and the AI expects a certain level of, you know, engagement and a certain level of gifts to buy. And right now, having just cheap gifts is not, honestly, it's not enough. I mean, if we go to the Market Insider, like Fred was saying, let's look at cheap gifts first. Cheap gifts demand is only 42%. We are now getting pushed out because now there's 4 businesses that are covering it. The import price index has gone down. That's good. That means things should be cheaper to buy, you know, in bulk. But expensive gifts, the demand is now 57%. It's a little bit more expensive than normal. And there's 3 businesses. So I'm the only business of the gift giving business, or I guess purchasing business. I'm the only one that doesn't have expensive gifts. And that does need to change. We have the money to make that change. What we're going to do is make that change. But we're going to go back home first. Oh yeah, we're not going to go back home first. We're going to fix the schedule. So we're going to go back to, let's delete that. Go back to open until then. We're good there. Granger, you are an opener. You work 30 hours a week. Perfect. So back to our normal schedule with me working from 12 until 8. Just an 8-hour shift. That's not too bad. But what I can do tomorrow, in the game, of course, is finally get expensive gifts going, and hopefully that'll drive in more business, and that'll help us succeed in turning a profit on this business, because right now it's not going so well. I mean, it's hard mode, and it's supposed to be hard, and that's what it is. It's very difficult. I mean, in real life, a lot of businesses fail after they start. I mean, it's not an easy task. And I mean, no one obviously ever said it's easy, but I mean, I think a lot of people go into it thinking, okay, this is not going to be too difficult, but it's difficult. I mean, you have a lot to do to make your business flourish. And ooh, wait, we're open, but we don't have an employee. Excuse me? Oh, damn it. Did the wrong thing again. Oh, that's annoying. Granger, sorry, I screwed up. That's gonna suck for today's profit. Anyway. What was I saying? Oh yeah, businesses, it takes a lot to flourish, and you know, a lot of businesses, I mean, they could take up to 5 years to eventually start turning a profit, and usually that profit is not very good. But for the game, I mean, we have the luxury of, one, getting pretty decent loans to start with, and 2, you know, there's a lot more to a company's expenses than what this game portrays, which rightfully so. I mean, you want a business management simulator. You don't want, you know, real life business. At least most people don't want that. Would I like that? Maybe. I mean, it seems kind of interesting, but I think going, you know, going all out, making it as realistic as possible can really dampen the gameplay because, you know, managing a business in real life isn't necessarily the most fun thing to do, to be quite honest. And, you know, a lot of hard work goes into it. For what I do for work in real life, it involves businesses. It's a commercial related position, and I mean, I see it all the time. To be quite honest, a business is failing, and you know, it sucks to see from that perspective. I mean, I don't know who these businesses are in terms of like the people that actually own it, and run it, because I'm on the back end of things. I don't see customers, for instance, but you know, it's got to suck. I mean, you look at these situations where these people are putting a lot into it. And they open a business, they're getting loans because a bank thinks that their business is worth the time. I mean, they've clearly presented a business plan, and in the end, the business still fails. Even if the bank thinks that, you know, their business idea was good and they felt like things were going to still be profitable in the end, it still doesn't end up working out. So it's just the way it is. And, you know, thankfully, market conditions, supply and demand are very lightly simulated in this game, because if it was realistically simulated, it would be a much more difficult game, that's for sure. I don't know if it'd necessarily be fun, to be honest, but I mean, I guess if they ever do something like that, we'd find out. I'm gonna grab some cheap gifts as well, but we're gonna snag... Ooh, look at that. They're even cheaper. We're gonna snag some expensive gifts now. We are going to see how well this turns out. I'm hoping this will finally start bringing in what we need, because we desperately need things to work out. We need to start turning a real profit so that we can start moving into another business. This doesn't mean we're going to abandon the gift shop. That's not going to be the case. We are most certainly not abandoning that. What we're going to end up doing is, at least this is my goal, we're going to open up another business, and then we're going to use the gift shop as kind of like a leverage for that business to help generate some kind of profit while we're getting the other business set up and going. But we'll also use the profits from both businesses, assuming both businesses make a profit. As we've seen, this one has not. We're going to use the profits to, I guess, for lack of a better term, beautify this and the next business that we end up making. So, because it's honestly, it's important that your customers come into your business thinking, you know, you give a damn. I mean, right now, does it look like I really give a damn? Here's this and blue walls and carpet. Like, no, it does not. If this was a real place, this would be the most unappealing business I'd ever walk into. I'd never come in. To be quite honest, I probably would, even if I did go in, I probably would never buy anything from a place like this, because, I mean, look at it. It looks ridiculous. So it's something we have to... That looks weird. Let's place this down real... Oh, dang it. Right. Let's put it back on there. Let's move this out of the way. I put it in the stupidest spot. Alright. So we know that this here... Looking at the green arrows there, so I'm going to do one more over. Boom. Alright, we're going to call this cheap gifts. Oops. That's not what I wanted to do. That was a mistake. We want to call it expensive gifts. There we go. Keep that there. I know I have another hand truck there. It's silly, I know. But it is what it is. So we start here in 49 minutes. We'll see how things go. We're going to look at Bizman real quick. So notice here, the expensive gifts are $32 a pop. Now, I'm going to pull the calculator here, because let's see, what is our inventory right now? So our stock count is 200. So we put 200 expensive gifts. Is that correct? Yeah, 200 expensive gifts on their shelves at $32 a piece. So we should get a profit, or not a profit, a revenue of $6,400 from selling these cheap gifts. And they are roughly, I'm just going to call it $1,620 to buy the box. So that gives us a net profit of $4,700 if we sell all, which we should over time, sell all the cheap gifts, or the expensive gifts, excuse me. That's a pretty good margin. Same with the, let's call it 200 again times 1750 is what we set the price at. That's $3,500 for the cheap gifts when we spent, we're just going to call it an even 12. So we should see a profit around $2,300 for the cheap gifts themselves. I still think we have stock from the original, more expensive stock, but you can kind of see how much of a difference that makes. So before we were buying cheap gifts for, roughly a little over $2,000 at the wholesaler nearby versus buying them for roughly $1,200. And now we're going to be making a much better profit versus before. We were not making a very big profit at all. So in fact, we haven't made a real profit. This should hopefully turn things around. I think what the best course of action is too is we're going to change the pricing on this guy as well. We're going to undercut our competitors because, again, the AI competitors, if I am not mistaken, do not change the market price. They just stick with the market price and that's it. Since we are not AI, we can make these changes. I think I'll change this one to 270. Just a weird, random, but cheaper number. So yeah, I hope this will help us turn a profit finally, like an actual true profit. Once that occurs, then I know we'll be safe to move on to the next business, which, I think the next business we should do is a fast food joint. They make a lot of money because people will always need to eat. Speaking of, I need to eat. Let's see if we can find a grocery store nearby, because that would probably be the most helpful. We're in the garment district. Cool, right down the street. So yeah, I think a fast food joint is probably going to be the best option. We will try to stick with the garment district for now. That's a clothing store, okay. They open in 1 hour. Well, that's unfortunate. They open in 1 hour. Man, all these places that open in an hour. I just got hit by that car and I didn't die. You don't die in this game, by the way. I mean, I think you do die, but not in the way that you're thinking. Oh, here we go. What do we got here? Lettuce, pears, bananas. Buy some bananas. That should be good. Lost my train of thought. Anyway, yeah, with the fast food joint, I mean, you get burgers, you get hot dogs, sodas, obviously, French fries. I'm not sure what else you could really feasibly throw in there at the moment. I'm not sure if they added anything else, but I mean, there's so many things that you can get that just they're adding on as you're making those purchases as a customer. So it ends up making a lot more money typically. From what I recall in my last playthrough, the best store to do is a clothing store. I don't know if that's changed, but the clothing stores, you could have expensive clothing for, I think there was like I think there's 3 styles. Or maybe it was 4 styles. I don't remember. Anyway, it was a lot of different clothes you could do. and then you could also add jewelry at the same time, and it just made buttloads of money, just tons and tons of money. And they even fixed it, if I recall correctly, and it still made a lot of money. I don't know if they'd gone ahead and done another balancing pass through for it. I'm not sure, but that is the top tier business to make from what I recall. If that's changed with the new businesses that have been introduced, which is the hairstylist, the electronics store, and this is since I played, by the way, and the dance or the nightclub. That's yet to be seen by me. I haven't looked into it either, but I mean, I'll definitely be making every type of store possible. I'll be making every office business possible. So I'm just going to be doing what I can to, I mean, again, make a business empire. That's the whole point of this game, is to make a business empire, manage it, and be successful. This is still, as you are probably very plainly aware at this point, an early access game. And what's really cool about that is that you can actually engage with the developers. They do have a forum, and I can link that in the description. It's a very good idea in a game like this, especially where, you know, a lot of what goes into it is what is demanded by the player base. And, you know, I'm pretty certain a lot of the ideas that have, you know, come through have been because players have suggested them. And, you know, that's a really good thing. I think the developer, I'm probably going to butcher this name, Hovgard, if I'm not mistaken, Hovgard Games, they've done a fantastic job engaging with the community. And I think they deserve kudos for that, because a lot of places will not. I mean, I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing that you don't engage with the community while you're developing a game, but you know, you could think that you're about to make a hit, but you end up making a miss. So I think with what Hovgard is doing, this game has plenty of, you know, ideas to go through, but it also has plenty of room for growth. And, you know, being in 0.4, I mean, I'm assuming they're going to keep going with, you know, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, etc. until they finally reach version 1.0, which would be a release version. You know, I being at this point already, for being at your 40 of 100% completed is fantastic. This game has a lot of depth to it already, and it's not even nearly complete. So, you know, you could look at that and just kind of be somewhat in awe at the level of detail that the developers, you know, put into it. And if I'm not mistaken, it's a very small development team. So you gotta give them kudos for working hard and making this a pretty worthwhile game. Even though, you know, is there really a massive market for this style of game? No, there's not. You know, personally speaking, I think there should be, because I love this style of game, but that's my personal opinion. You know, the most popular games out there are most certainly not going to be doing something like this, so that's whatever. Nothing wrong with that at all. But yeah, if you are watching this, if you've actually gotten this far into the video, look at that profit, $565. There you go. I appreciate you watching, of course. In fact, you know, after seeing that, I think this is actually a good stopping point. So once again, I do appreciate anyone who makes it this far. You know, like I said before earlier in the video, I'm starting out, so I really want to share my experiences with this, and I hope you are enjoying, you know, watching me play this and listening to me, you know, ramble on about my personal life and whatnot. But, you know, if you do like this, let me know. Let me know in the comments. I really would appreciate some some idea of how I'm doing. And you know, if you would go ahead and give me a like and a subscribe. You don't have to, but I would love it. I would love the support. I would love to keep going with something like this. But yeah, again, thanks for watching, and I do hope you have a good rest of your day wherever you are, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.